my name is Paul Avila. I'm the founder of Paulys Project. Right now I'm in lovely downtown LA, Skid Row. Skid Row is a special place in my heart, and every time I come, it's always active. You know, we got choppers overhead, ambulances coming by, there's a distinct smell, distinct noises, a lot of things going on, you know, but I love it. You know, at a young age, my uncle lived in Skid Row, so it's always in my heart to come back and give back to this area. But just about myself, I'm the youngest of 5. I have an older sister, brother, and well, 3 sisters total and a brother, and I grew up the San Gabriel Valley. And I'd say a little bit about Paul. I was always the quiet one, you know, being the youngest of 5. I was like the sponge, just kind of listening to everything going on around me. I loved sports, I loved art, love still, and music was always my go-to, and that's just kind of like Paulie too. But I know music in my life, I always remember growing up with like a lot of confusion, you know. Unfortunately, when I was born, you know, my parents split, and not having my dad around, I know that did impact me. I did get to, you know, obviously spend some time on the weekends with them, which wasn't always the best memories, you know, going through, you know, the rough times of growing up. But I think it made me who I am today. Fast forward, going into my teen years, you know, made some mistakes like most young boys, you know, and they just have mom around, you know. She did her best, and I love my mom. She put in so much work and dedication into her 5 kids, but, you know, like most kids, you know, you want to go out there, experiment. I got into a little trouble, ended up getting kicked out of high school. It's a long story, but you know, my mom always kept us rooted in the faith, you know, and whatever direction I would go, I always feel like God pulled me back, and you know, I just try to stay on the narrow path. But yeah, I think a lot of my past, the good and bad, is made me the man I am today. So yeah, man, at the end of the day, I'm just here to make a difference in our community. Yeah, so now about my amazing son, Paulie. Paulie's 26 years old. He's thriving. He's getting older, bigger, and stronger. But at a young age, I'd say Paulie was maybe around 3 or 4 years old, and we found out, well, we knew, you know, obviously months later that he was blind. And that took a toll on us, you know, being young parents. It was very difficult. You know, I just remember it was like somebody punching me in the gut, you know, because everything was normal as far as all his records, all the testing. And then when he was born, you know, his eyes would wander, and, you know, I thought something was a little off. And I remember we saw the pediatrician, and he said, yeah, you know, your son is blind. And it was like, wow, you know, it was so difficult at that time. And as he got older, you know, he was still delayed, and we said, you know, it must be something else going on. And we went to the pediatrician. I think he was like 3 or 4 years old, and then he told us he was autistic. And it was just, again, another blow. And, you know, the doctor, I just remember him saying, this is going to be an uphill battle, because most kids are blind or autistic, and you're dealing with both, you know. So, you know, being that your son may never be able to see and talk is going to be like, you know, an uphill battle. And it was, you know, unfortunately it took a toll on me and mom's relationship. And I remember just going through 2 years of a really difficult time, you know, the breakup of mom, and then finding out that your son is blind and autistic, and thinking that you're just going to be the single father the rest of your life. And you know, I made some poor choices in those 2 years with, you know, just drinking and fighting and going to jail, just all sorts of bad stuff. And there was one night that I got in a, actually we'll call it a car chase, and heavily intoxicated. I was drunk and ended up rolling my truck. And I just remember waking up after the accident, and I was just like, wow, like I survived for a reason, you know. And I was in the hospital, and just remember my mom talking to me, and it's like, you know, if you don't want to live for yourself, live for your son, or whatever her exact words that she told me. And I was just like, you know, what am I doing? I got to change the direction my life is going. So between, you know, having my family's support and looking at my son, Paulie, I just had to change my ways. So that's a lot of the story pre-Paulys Project. Yeah, so I remember now we're going on about 12 years ago that Paulys Project started, and it began just me coming out here, you know, volunteering. I know I had an uncle, my tío Alfonso, who would be in and out of prison, and he'd always end up in Skid Row. So at a young age, my mom would take me down here, and I always remember, bringing him hygiene kits and cigarette cartons and clothing. And since then, rest in peace, my uncle Tio Alfonso has passed. But about 12 years ago, it came into my heart to come out and just volunteer. So I used to go to the Union Rescue Mission, just serving breakfast, and there was one day in particular in the morning, I remember I was walking back to my car and I saw this, homeless gentleman with headphones, and I immediately thought of my son, Paulie, and I was like, wow, like music touches the soul, as they say. And so I went home, I was tossing and turning, and I was like, all right, God, you planted something in my heart today. Like I saw that, homeless man with headphones, and how do we share the gift of music? So I said, I'm gonna start a simple concept. We're gonna start Paulys Project in honor of my son, and we're just gonna start by donating and sharing the gift of music by giving out free radios. So like I said, that started 12 years ago, and since then we've expanded. I remember I started posting a couple years after that, and people are like, yeah, we love your story, we love how you get back to the community in honor of your son, but how do we get involved? So I remember one day in particular, I said, hey, let's meet up at Farmer Boys, and we got a few volunteers, and it just grew from there. So I think it's just planting the seed and sharing through your own life experiences, and things just kind of evolved. So I'm very passionate about Paulys Project because it is in honor of my son. There's certain things my son's not going to be able to do, drive a car, probably get married, or play sports and all these things, but this is what I can do in honor of my son, Paulie. And it's an honor to represent his name. This isn't Paul's project, this is Paulys Project. So if you go around Drive LA, there's murals of Paulie. I really put my son on the map because it's not just going to come to an end one day. We're continuing our legacy, and when me and Paulie are gone, Paulys Project's going to continue. So right now we're grooming it, and getting the right pieces of the puzzle on board, and Paulys Project's expanding. So I think, having our street outreach thing, it's all about developing relationships. We go to areas that are, let's face it, society turns their back on, or I call them a lot of the, forgotten souls out there. And when I first started, we used to come to the heart of Skid Row, giving back and donating items. And I remember one day in particular, I was driving down Alameda, and I got lost on some back streets, and I realized how many homeless encampments were over there. So I started one time just going out there and getting to know them, and giving out blankets and socks and shoes, etc. But I think that's what makes us more unique, because most organizations, you just post up on a corner, everybody comes to you and you give out stuff. But with Paulys Project, every other Sunday, we go to different encampments throughout what I call the outskirts of downtown LA. So, but yeah, we're always in need of volunteers. We're always in need of donations. And, we need the community's support. A lot of times people will see us on social media and it looks great. Oh, Paulie's out there doing his thing, but, we can't do it without the support of people. So Paulys Project, people always say, how can we get involved? So we still, like I said, we go out the first and third Sunday of every month for our street outreach, but also we have 2 times during the year, we have our giving back event. And that's right here, the heart of Skid Row at Gladys Park. And, so if you want to come out and volunteer, if you want to come out and donate, we've had, I think last time we served about over 600 people. We had Denny's on board. We have amazing support. We have Danny Trejo, and we have some amazing people that come out and help us and support us. So there's always opportunities to get involved with Paulys Project. If you want to donate, or like I said, volunteer your time. And we have a upcoming gala. It's going to be this October. It's going to be at Sage Restaurant in Whittier. And that is a day for Paulys Project to raise funds. People always say how they can help. Well, as Paulys Project is growing, we need financial support, monetary donations. So, we're going to be inviting people. It's going to be a kind of a private fundraiser gala. But if your work wants to get involved, if you have a raffle item, donation item, there's just so many ways to get involved and help Paulys Project. But right now, we need financial help. So we hope you can get involved. The best way to get a hold of me, we have our active on our Paulys Project Instagram page. We also have a Facebook page and our website, and everything's Paulys Project, Paulys Project. Just like our website is paulysproject.org. So you can email me direct there. There's donation links, and there's a link for upcoming events. So like I said, we need the community support, and we need everybody to get involved. You know, people love what we do, but it doesn't end there. We need continuous help from the community. And if that's volunteering or donating items or donating financially, there's always a way you can help Paulys Project.